What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So the name of today's video is called Andrew Yang in Parallel. So Andrew Yang is a candidate running on the Democratic ticket who is currently running for president of the United States. In the past couple months, he's built up a huge following, especially on Twitter. I'm following him now. I learned about him a couple months ago. And the reason I like him and will be donating to his campaign, will continue to donate to his campaign, is because I really want to see a candidate like him get into the office. What do I mean by that? Well, I think Andrew Yang is a very forward-thinking person, number one. I like the fact that before he even steps foot in office, he is thinking, like he based his whole campaign based on problems that are right around the corner versus problems that we face now. And I think that's very telling for a president to do, or for somebody running for president, because obviously it's easy to talk about what's wrong with everything now and make up temporary and solutions that sound good in the moment, because they have all the attention, so you get all the buzz. It's easy to get media attention that way, and it's kind of like a cycle I noticed in media that happens. Not very often do you see somebody who's thinking 5-10 years in the future. I really like that about Andrew Yang. I feel like a lot of his solutions are geared towards what is going to happen. By 2030, we'll lose a third of the job market to automation, and he's already putting in policy that would plan and sort of soften the blow when something like that occurs. And I think that's very important, because when Barack Obama got elected president in 2008, it was a historic time in the country. A lot of people were very excited. But I don't think anybody could have really predicted in that period that he was president, because he was a two-term president, from 2008 to 2016, how much things could drastically change in a technological way. Because 8 years, it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but 8 to 10 years, a decade now, I just feel like it's so much different. Like going forward, like 10 years is every 10 years, things I think could just be massively different, just because of the way that technology is speeding everything up, the way that technology is changing everything so quickly. And I think technology is breaking us through to that next level of society that we ultimately need to get to. But a lot of people are not sure how to handle it, and it takes a very forward thinking mind to really come up with good solutions. When Barack Obama got elected in 2008, like, YouTube had just been created. It was still brand new. The social media, like Facebook wasn't the way it was now. Like Twitter wasn't around, Instagram, Uber, like ride sharing, the sharing economy really wasn't a thing at all. Like, and if you think about how much billions of dollars and how much services the sharing economy provides people every single day, that's only going to increase. Like, how could anybody have, if you didn't have that mindset going into your presidency, is what I'm trying to say. Like, how much more effective could Barack Obama have been if he would have known like all this stuff was coming? And I think that would have made a big difference. Andrew Yang, I think he's already going into the presidency realizing that, okay, things are going to be drastically different. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, I can just look at past presidents, or what is this person. No, I gotta come in with my own strategy, like off the rip, and be ready to adopt and change and do things in a gradual way. He talks about switching to like electric cars or more fuel efficient cars and forms of transportation. That's something that we need to do, and we need to start doing it now, because at the end of the day, like, you want stuff like that to be gradual. You know, you don't want to just come out and say like, oh, you know what, the government says you can't drive this type of car anymore, you can't have this type of whatever for your house, because if that's the case, like, you know, people aren't going to feel like free, you know, and that's very important too. Like, you don't want to come in there and just start being a dictator. I think the economy is going to change drastically during the next 10 years, like, no matter who gets in office. So I think this is one of the most critical elections of our lifetimes. Whoever gets elected right now is going to have just a major effect on what the world looks like for the next 100 years, I believe, because there's just so much global uncertainty in the world right now. There's just so much like looming, you know, so much of the financial system is just broken, you know, and it's like, I think the world just kind of like needs and is looking for a reset or rebalance and of a new way of doing things. So it's encouraging for me that Andrew Yang has been so pro blockchain, so pro crypto, and that's ultimately why I'm supporting him. I mean, to be honest, number one, I think his other policies are great. I love his policies as far as democracy dollars. I think that's a brilliant idea, probably my favorite Andrew Yang policy. And the freedom dividend, of course, like, that's huge. That's going to be huge for so many people, you know, and I personally think it could work, you know, if done properly. But I'm not really voting for Andrew Yang on any of that stuff. It's more the fact that he is that forward-thinking person who is at least acknowledging where the world is heading, you know, and that, I think, is going to resonate with a lot of people, because not enough people are talking about that. So that kind of inspired me to make this video about Andrew Yang, because I really appreciate that he's actually, you know, putting himself out there and saying, hey, this is what we need, like a freedom dividend or a UBI, which, you know, obviously is, and, you know, I live in the United States of America, so I know, like, that's not going to come out of the gate sounding very popular. You know, there's going to be a lot of skepticism on its head, and, you know, maybe some of it is warranted, but, you know, again, it's not to think that in 2020 that we're not going to have the technology to facilitate something like that is absurd. I think we can do it. I think we need to do it. And ultimately, this is my personal belief, I do think we're heading, technology will get us to where we need to be. I think right now the biggest problem that exists is the wealth gap, the inequality of wealth, and everybody's coming out with their own solution on how we fix this. You know, you got Bernie Sanders in one corner saying we need to have a wealth tax and we need to tax, you know, billionaires, and there shouldn't be any billionaires, and it's like, okay. And then you got Warren saying kind of something similar but not as extreme, and it's just like, to me, the most important thing is not about, I think the wealth gap will shrink naturally. It's just all about opening up opportunities. Opportunities is the real commodity. It's not wealth. Wealth can be generated very quickly in a modern society, like very quickly. Like, there are people who literally have nothing one day, and then just a year's worth of hard work. You just don't know where you could be in 1 year's time. That's what's so exciting, and I think that's what's going to be the great equalizer, just opening up opportunity for more people, because that wealth gap can change very quickly. We just need a government who is less restrictive, who is open to new technologies and new way of doing things, such as crypto, such as blockchain, and allowing people, don't over-regulate them, allow people, you know, an opportunity. You know, give people some money, give people $1,000 a month. That's not enough to stop people from working, but that is enough to allow them to invest in themselves, to allow them to do what it takes for them to, you know, make something of themselves, to follow their dreams, and to know that they do have some sort of safety net. You know, get millions of people who are just living on disability right now, just collecting a paycheck, who are scared to even work or do anything because they don't want to lose their disability benefits. So they're just a negative in the economy. They're just literally sitting there, you know, eating, getting more depressed, taking more prescription medication, and it's just like a negative, like a big negative cycle. So, you know, I think I want to see, you know, more money, you know, being generated by the lower and middle class, because I think we live in a society now where like that's going to be possible. You know, the internet makes that possible. Like anybody is going to be able to become their own bank. Like, think about that. Anybody can be able to become their own bank now. Anybody can set up an online retail shop. Anybody can sell out of their house, and they have access to a global network of people around the world that they can sell to. So now you can attack that long tail market. You can attack that niche market. You know, there's just more opportunity. And so I personally really like Andrew Yang's approach. I don't think we need to penalize billionaires. I think they should be celebrated. I think people who achieve any level of high achievement in this world should be celebrated, because, you know, there's somebody you can model after, you can look up to. You know, you can, you know, say, hey, you know, how did that person do it? You know, if he did it, I can do it. And as long as we maintain some level of meritocracy, meaning, you know, merit-based system where people have to work hard in order to achieve and dedicate themselves, I think ultimately that is what people want. So to answer the question about will giving people $1,000 a month make them lazy, I don't think it will. I think people are only lazy when they're unmotivated, and they're only unmotivated when they feel like they don't have opportunity. And I feel like $1,000 a month could give people a lot more opportunity, in conjunction with the fact that we do have the internet at scale now. There are just so many options for and outlets for expression, creativity, business, you know, you name it. Like, whatever it is you want to do, I feel like in 2020 and beyond, it's going to be highly possible. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. These are my thoughts on Andrew Yang, why personally I support Andrew Yang, and why I think for forward-thinking society, he is our best option.